This is Pace Per Mile. For more on the latest news, reviews, check out pacepermile.com. Like us on Facebook and join in the conversation on Twitter. With host Chris Nicholas, this is Pace Per Mile.
Welcome to Pace Per Mile's special segments. It's a new segment on Saturday mornings talking with inspirational people that are incredible within the athletic community. And today, joining me now in this segment, and somebody that has done an incredible achievement, but she's not done with it yet. It's Julie Weiss. Julie, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I bet you're just a bit nervous about the LA Marathon coming up this weekend.
You know, I'm excited, and I'm in deep gratitude of this whole journey, and I've got a few butterflies. Yes, I'd have to admit that's correct.
Yeah, because I bet it's going to be quite emotional. If people have not followed your story, we're going to take the next 15 minutes or so and chat a little bit. By the end, hopefully they'll realize how inspiring you are, how incredible of a journey that you have embarked on so long ago to finally come to an end this weekend. Julie is known as the Marathon Goddess. And Julie, before we even get into that, where does Marathon Goddess come from?
Well, if you could believe it, I actually saw it on a shirt, and I thought it was such a great name. And to me, Marathon Goddess is not me. It's about embracing the God or goddess within us all, whatever it is you love to do, just embracing that passion and bringing it out. And for me, my passion happens to be marathons.
And you've been running for how many years?
I ran my first marathon, the 2008 Los Angeles Marathon was my first. But since March 18th of 2012, I've run 51 marathons in 51 weeks, and on Sunday will be number 52, the LA Marathon.
All right, let's dive right into that, because even though there's that excitement that builds inside, you're going to toe the line, you're going to finish. I'm knocking on wood so that I don't jinx you, but I know that you're going to finish coming up this Sunday. But let's talk about why. Why are you doing this and why you've been doing this? And it all leads back to your father, who passed away in 2010. Tell us a little bit about him and the story that led to you starting this journey.
Thank you. Yes, my father was my biggest fan and most challenging critic. Actually, it was our greatest dream that he would see me qualify for Boston, where we would go to Boston together. And so he was my biggest fan. He would support me. I would call him after every marathon, and even if I didn't qualify, he was just like, okay, keep going. You're going to do great. And so from 2008 to 2010, I ran about 19 marathons, and my father in October was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I was just devastated, but I was determined that he was going to beat it, and I was going to qualify for Boston. I had another race coming up, and I said, you're going to beat this thing, and you're going to come with me to Sacramento where I'm going to qualify. And so we had made reservations, and we were keeping the hope alive. But sadly and shockingly, my father passed away just 5 days before I qualified for the Boston Marathon, just 35 days after diagnosis. I totally believe that he was the reason I qualified. He was the wind at my back. He had the best seat in the house. He was in my heart. From then on, I went on to complete the Boston Marathon, and I knew there was something more that I had to do. So I decided to do something dramatic to raise money and awareness for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network after I learned these statistics were just staggering.
Going back to your father, Maurice, passing away just, 35 days after being diagnosed. And when you were running the Boston Marathon, and I think you probably have been asked this question many times, what was going through your head? Just tell us some of your thoughts if you can.
I felt my father's spirit there with me. I know he was there with me, and we were really pushing for a sub-4. That was always his thing. He'd like to see me get under sub-4. And I was like, okay, if I could just get under sub-4 here at Boston, that'd be great. And I felt his spirit. I imagined him, and it was bittersweet, and I had no idea what Boston had in store for me with those hills, and I barely made it under 4 hours, but I did. And again, he was so proud of me, and I know he is still with me today on this whole entire journey. He's been with me every step of the way. and I can't even explain. I got no injuries after so many marathons. It's pretty unbelievable.
What do you relate being injury-free through all of this? What's sort of your secret to it? Not only the mental side of it, but the physical side as well.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. A lot goes into it. You know, my weeks are all about recovery and taking, you know, a big factor is that I take my marathons an hour slower, and that's a big reason why I have been injury-free, and that's okay. It's just about finishing. My marathons this year are not about speed. They're about spirit. It's about finishing. My marathons are about the people that are out there battling this awful disease. So when I'm out there competing, my only competitor is pancreatic cancer. And so for that reason, that is much bigger than myself. It's not just me running these marathons. It's me, you know, running for these people. And so I have that spirit with me, and I dedicate all of my marathons to somebody affected by this disease. There's spirit, there's the mental and the physical, but, you know, together somehow I've found I've had success.
And most coaches and trainers would agree with you in regards to, you know, just focusing on you, especially when you're doing races so frequently, that it is not about trying to get to the finish line as fast as you can.
That's right. Actually, after about 4 marathons, I think I stopped looking at my watch. I even stopped wearing a watch. And, you know, I just focused on, you know, being in the moment, being in that marathon, and not how many marathons I had ahead of me. And then, you know, logistically it was difficult because in addition to running these 52 marathons, I'm also a mother, and I have a 9-to-5 job. So I would leave my office on a Friday or Saturday, fly to a different city, state, country, run the marathon on a Sunday, fly back to get to work Monday morning. So that in itself, you know, has been almost more challenging than the actual marathon itself.
Yeah, the logistics of that. Tell us a little bit about, and we'll talk about the fundraising side in just a few minutes, but for our listeners, talk a little bit about how far you've had to go to tackle that marathon. Countries you mentioned just a few moments ago, you know, obviously flying and driving.
Yeah.
What's the logistics behind all those marathons?
Well, the first marathon was the farthest one, and that was the Rome Marathon, actually, March 18th, 2012. That was in Rome. You know, that was a wonderful opportunity I had there that we filmed the Spirit of the Marathon, too. So that was very epic, you know, to be running around that city was amazing. But I've had some logistical challenges, including the New York Marathon, where I flew to New York to run the marathon to find that it was canceled just 5 minutes after I arrived, and I knew I had to get a marathon in that weekend. So I jumped on the next plane back to LA, found a marathon in Santa Clarita, California, and then ended up running that one. So that marathon was harder to get to the start line than it was to the finish.
Financially, you've got sponsors that are behind you. Probably the more races you had under your belt, the easier it was to find those sponsors, I would assume.
Well, yeah, and I've partnered up with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and their marathon program called Team Hope, and they've sponsored me and helped me with my travel, you know, most of my travel, and I've been very blessed with them, and they've been in full support, and they're just a wonderful charity with the best research out there, and they were so excited by my goal and believed in me, so I partnered up with them. And they've been, you know, helping me with the travel and the cost of that. I've also been very blessed by ASICS, who's helped me with running shoes and clothes, all purple, of course, for pancreatic cancer, which was, you know, a great honor to have ASICS come on board with me.
And with 1,362.4, that would be the exact number, I believe, after,
right.
after this weekend. Was there any training during the week at all?
Well, my weeks are all about recovery. My whole year has basically been taper.
Yeah.
So I do maybe a little running 30 minutes here and there, depending on how I'm feeling, how my energy is. But I mainly just rest and a little weight training. I have a fantastic sports physician, and my fiance happens to be a marathon coach who co-wrote The Complete Idiot's Guide to Marathon Training. So that comes in handy. One might say I'm the complete idiot, but I'm doing, and they call me crazy all the time, but it's a good crazy. It's just that I'm extremely passionate. So everybody, it's like a whole team here. We're all together and keeping me going. It took a village.
And I'll have to get that book from you, by the way. So send
Absolutely.
So send one my way. Now let's talk about the actual charity, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And at the time that we're talking right now, you're closing on almost $174,000 raised in less than a year. And that's incredible when you think about it. And obviously you know that, but how'd you do that?
Well, I've done a lot on social media when I have time. Facebook, Twitter. I have a relationship with a couple of foundations that have been very generous. My employer has also been very generous, but it's also those donations, anything from, a couple dollars to hundreds of dollars that makes up that number. And it's those donations that are so special. And most of these people have been affected by pancreatic cancer in some way. I mean, I get an email almost every other day from somebody who's been affected, and they make a donation, and I run and their loved ones on, or I run for them, and so it's been, it's been a challenge, but I'm so grateful for all the money and awareness that I've raised. My goal is $1 million, so I'm far short from the $1 million, but I'm making some headway, and 173,000 is pretty darn good, and I'm very grateful for every single penny because it all counts. And I just get out there, and spreading awareness is half the battle for me. And I've got a lot of press, and that's been wonderful to help me in spreading my message for the charity and for this disease.
Can't say that you went wrong in any way out there, and having $1 million goal is certainly just pushing you harder every race and every day that you're out there. So accolades to you and everybody that has donated to you, and that doesn't mean they can stop. They can continue to donate. We'll talk a little bit about how they can do that. But one of the things that, while you were just mentioning that you get emails and people talk to you about dealing with pancreatic cancer, let me ask you something, and this might be a little bit tough for you, but after your father passed away and you decided to do this, and then you start seeing that other people are kind of in your same situation, how were you able to transition into that and keep a strong mind through that time period?
Wow. Well, it's a really good, tough question because it has not been easy. I mean, it started with my father, but it turned into me sort of embracing the whole pancreatic cancer community. And it's sad. My heart breaks every time I get an email from somebody. And my biggest challenge, and I always tell everybody, is to keep the hope alive and to turn this negative thing into a positive and to stay as positive as you possibly can, because this is what it's about. We need hope in this disease. People think that it's a death sentence. They don't know that, we can raise hope, we can raise awareness, and we can raise money, and we can beat this thing. So it's about creating that light and that hope and keeping that hope alive that people sort of cling on to, and they embrace that, and then, and then I run for their loved one, or they come out and they run with me. Survivors have been coming out and running with me, and I've been running. So it's, I've just sort of embraced that whole community, but it's not easy. You'll see me smiling a lot because I try to keep the hope alive. But my heart breaks every day when I get these emails and when I see somebody suffering. But I really focus on, having them stay positive. That's huge. Your will, if you can just keep that will and that hope alive, you can create miracles. You really can.
You're right. What's next for you after all of this is done? Is it done?
It's not done. I'm not done until the war on pancreatic cancer has been won, and that rhymes, I know, but it's so true. I'm not stopping until even long after I've raised $1 million. I'm not stopping until we've made a difference. And I have some, I think I signed up for an ultra marathon in South Africa. I'll bring my campaign to South Africa. I'm bringing it all around the world. I decided to run another 52 marathons, but not in this capacity. The goal of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network is to double the survival rate by 2020. So I decided to run another 52 marathons, but by 2020, which is, it's not as crazy, but it's still means we're counting. We're counting up the number of marathons to 104. We are counting up the number of survivors, and we will beat this thing. And I'm keeping pancreatic cancer in the headlines, raising money through my website that goes straight to Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. So that's important, to raise that awareness. And while we've been so successful, I can't stop now. No way.
Well, I'm completely impressed, and I know the listeners are as well. So hopefully they'll get a chance to go to your website. Tell us all about how they can donate, how they can contribute, and those that are dealing with situations of family members or they've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer themselves. How can they reach out to you? And tell us all about that.
Thank you so much. My website is marathongoddess.com, and on my website is a donation button, and you click on that, and it takes you straight to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. So you donate directly. All donations are tax deductible, goes directly to them. And if you are a loved one, or you know somebody suffering, or you're concerned about it and you want to learn more about the disease or need help, patient support, you can go to Pancreatic Cancer. You can go to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network's website, which is pancan.org, and they are there to help you. They have the best patient support out there, and I know they're the #1 charity for Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. They're the 4-star charity with Charity Navigator out there, so they're just wonderful. My father told me about them, actually, when he was sick, and he was right. They are just remarkable. So that's pancan.org. My website is marathongoddess.com. All donations go direct to the charity. And, it's really urgent. There is urgent need for funds. Pancreatic cancer is the 4th leading cause of cancer death in the United States. Also the lowest funded. It makes no sense. And it's estimated to go up to the 2nd leading cause of cancer death by 2015 if there's not enough money for research. So it's critical that more funds are put into research to raise money and awareness so that these people like my father, all these people have a chance, so they have a fighting chance to beat this thing. You
have the torch burning very, very strong, and our hearts and our thoughts are with you and everybody that you are supporting, and we will do our part to help in that. And I would love to have you back on the show in the future to reignite that if that flame gets any duller, okay?
It would be an honor. I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and then good luck. By the way, I know.
Good luck on Sunday. Yeah, we got this. I always say we got this. It's been sort of my motto this whole year, and I'm confident that we're going to reach that finish line, and then we're going to beat pancreatic cancer once and for all. You're going to do it, and if somebody's on the race course or sidelines cheering people on, how are they going to know? Hey, there's Julie. Tell us a little bit about what you're wearing out there. Thank you. Well, purple is the color for pancreatic cancer. I'll have a purple Team Hope top on, black shorts, a flower in my hair, and I may have a balloon with the number 52 tied around me so that people can spot me and run in with me. All right. Let's make a big, let's make some noise, bring the awareness, let's bring it to the front line. So the more people, the better. And I'll stop for hugs. So that's good. I like that too. I can't promise you this marathon will be one of my fastest, but that's not what it's about. I'll hug whoever needs one. You got it. I stop for hugs. Stop for hugs. I love it. I love it. Julie, it's all good. It's been inspiring to have you on, and like I said, with the doors open, we'd love to have you back on in the future, and we will continue to spread the word and awareness on our end. And you're doing a great thing, so keep it up. Keep fighting, all right? Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate it. Thanks. All right, thanks. And we've been talking with Julie Weiss. Check her out at marathongoddess.com and running 52 marathons, 52 weeks for pancreatic cancer. You just got to check the information out online. Marathongoddess.com is where you start. This has been one of the new Saturday special segments on Pace Per Mile. Join us every Saturday for a special segment with a special person doing something incredible. Check it out and check out more at pacepermile.com. I'm Chris Nicholas. Now, it's Saturday. It's the weekend. Get out there, get some miles in, and we'll talk to you soon. At Pace Per Mile, we want to share your story. Do you know someone that has a compelling topic to share with the listeners? Help us tell your story or their story by emailing us today. info
info@pacepermile.com. That's info@pacepermile.com.